Right now on Good Morning America First Look, something never seen before in the United States. A former director of the FBI indicted. New details overnight about the case against James Comey. The charges coming just days after President Trump pressured his attorney general to prosecute his political rivals. What comes next?
U.S. fighter jets scramble to intercept Russian jets off Alaska. Meantime, Defense Secretary Hegseth calls for a rare meeting of several hundred U.S. military commanders from around the world. The latest from the Pentagon.
What we're learning about a 911 system outage affecting multiple states, plus a power outage hitting Grand Central Station.
Double threat, the two storms that could combine into a hurricane threat for the East Coast.
The historic settlement, Amazon paying billions after being accused of deceiving customers. How the money will be handed out.
The controversy as some of the biggest stars in comedy head to Saudi Arabia for a special event.
Living longer, the advice from a woman who lived to 117, what she ate for breakfast.
And a daredevil does something no one has dared to do before on Mount Everest.
From ABC News, this is Good Morning America First Look.
Good Friday morning, everyone. I'm Elizabeth Schulze.
And I'm Perry Rustin. We have new information about the indictment of former FBI Director James Comey.
It's the first time a former head of the FBI has been indicted, and we learned overnight about several other highly unusual developments. It's the latest turn in a bitter feud between Comey and President Trump that began nearly a decade ago when Comey approved an investigation into election interference by Russia.
This morning, an unprecedented move by the Justice Department, indicting a former director of the FBI. The multiple charges against James Comey coming just days after President Trump called for his prosecution.
I'm innocent, so let's have a trial.
Comey posting a video claiming his family has paid the price for standing up to Trump. Comey quoting his daughter, who was fired by the Justice Department in July.
My family and I have known for years that there are costs to standing up to Donald Trump. But we couldn't imagine ourselves living any other way. We will not live on our knees, and you shouldn't either. Somebody that I love dearly recently said that fear is the tool of a tyrant, and she's right. But I'm not afraid.
In an unusual move, the grand jury in Virginia indicted Comey on just 2 of the 3 charges presented to them, making a false statement and obstruction of a congressional proceeding. But he was not indicted on a separate false statement charge.
These are serious felonies. He does face up to 5 years in prison. The idea is that he's accused of making a false statement, knowingly so, and he did so to a material fact.
Sources say in another highly unusual move, acting U.S. Attorney Lindsay Halligan presented the charges against Comey directly to the grand jury herself, because other prosecutors in the office refused to attend, given their reservations about the case. Sources say prosecutors had presented Halligan with a memo recommending Comey not be charged with a crime due to lack of evidence.
Whoever gets assigned to this case is going to have to hear as to make sense as to why this case is actually being presented.
Trump appointed Halligan earlier this week after he pressured her predecessor into stepping down for not bringing fraud charges against New York Attorney General Letitia James. And in another recent post, President Trump named Comey while criticizing Attorney General Pam Bondi for not moving quickly enough to bring criminal charges against his political opponents. Trump writing, "Justice must be served now." Trump yesterday denied pushing prosecutors to charge Comey.
I think I'd be allowed to get involved if I want, but I don't really choose to do so.
Last night, Trump celebrating the indictments, saying justice in America, and calling Comey one of the worst human beings this country has ever been exposed to. The indictments stem from Comey's appearance before a Senate committee in 2020. Prosecutors say he authorized a leak to the media about an FBI investigation via an anonymous source, but then told the Senate he had not authorized the leak.
He then asked you, quote, "Have you ever authorized someone else at the FBI to be an anonymous source in news reports about the Trump investigation or the Clinton administration?" You responded again under oath, "No."
I can only speak to my testimony. I stand by what the testimony you summarized that I gave in May of 2017.
Overnight, Capitol Hill divided. Democrats claiming the president is weaponizing the Justice Department. Democratic Senator Mark Warner writing, when a staunchly Republican U.S. attorney couldn't even find a credible case against James Comey, Trump pushed him out and found someone who would. But Republican Congressman Greg Steube saying, from lying to Congress and leaking classified information to reporters to concocting the treasonous Russiagate hoax, James Comey weaponized the FBI to try to take down President Trump.
I think some people are going to say, well, this is just political revenge. I don't believe that's the case at all. Lying to Congress is a very serious offense.
Comey is scheduled to be arraigned October 9th. A judge appointed by former President Biden has been assigned to the case.
In the wake of Comey's indictment, other well-known figures in Washington and beyond could be targeted. President Trump speaking out overnight. ABC's Nicole D'Antonio has the story. Nicole, good morning.
Perry, good morning. President Trump spoke to Fox last night. He called former FBI Director James Comey a very corrupt person whose Russia investigation, quote, could have caused wars. Now, Trump also hinted at potentially charging former CIA Director John Brennan for his connection to the Russia investigation. Trump saying it is up to the Justice Department, but I can tell you it is a group of people that was very disappointing. This makes Watergate look like peanuts. It comes as we learn the Justice Department is looking to possibly indict the charity organization run by another Trump enemy, billionaire Democratic donor George Soros. Sources say prosecutors around the country received a letter from the Justice Department this week listing potential charges to consider, ranging from wire fraud to racketeering. Now, spokesman for Soros defends their work as peaceful and lawful. And one other note from Washington, there's a government shutdown looming next Tuesday night, and there's little progress to report in terms of any negotiations on a spending plan to keep the government running. Perry.
Nicole, thank you. The Pentagon says U.S. fighter jets were scrambled to intercept Russian aircraft near Alaska. The F-16s were launched after 4 Russian jets failed to properly identify themselves in a section of international airspace. It's considered the latest in a series of Russian flights meant to test U.S. and NATO readiness. Meanwhile, Russia has not been cleared of responsibility for drone flights over airports in Denmark. While not naming Russia, officials in Denmark say the flights were the work of a professional actor.
Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth has summoned America's generals, admirals, and other military brass for an urgent meeting. Hundreds of commanders stationed around the world will gather in Virginia next week. The purpose of the meeting remains a mystery. It comes after Hegseth ordered major cuts and fired top officials.
We turn now to rare system outages affecting the 911 emergency system in multiple states and affecting power at one of the busiest transit hubs in the country. Overnight, the lights coming back on at New York's Grand Central Station after a blackout left commuters navigating the transit hub using their phones. The outage not affecting train or subway service. Some commuters briefly getting stuck in elevators. Backup generators kicking on about an hour later. Officials blaming a technical issue with voltage. Hours earlier, a different kind of rare outage. The 911 system going down for hours in multiple states.
We don't ever remember this ever happening like this.
Most of Louisiana was affected, including the state's 3 biggest cities. Several counties in Mississippi and Alabama also experienced outages. Officials say the outages were the result of damage to AT&T fiber optic cables. Officials giving the public an alternate number to call in case of an emergency.
For those who have non-emergency issues, please don't call. Wait, call us after this crisis is over with.
Service was restored a few hours later. Authorities saying they do not believe there was any foul play.
There is no indication it was malicious, and given backhoe fiber cuts, there's no reason to suspect it.
AT&T has apologized for the outage.
Video now shows the moment gunfire erupted at this Dallas immigration facility Wednesday. Officers and detainees were ducking for some cover, some in shackles, being rushed into the building. Authorities say the gunman died by suicide. They say notes at his home expressed hatred for the government and a desire to terrorize immigration agents.
The tragic irony for his evil plot here is that it was a detainee who was killed and 2 other detainees that were injured.
Officials say the shooter had no apparent links to hate groups.
Now to the weather and a possible double threat in the tropics. Tropical storm Umberto and now another storm forming in the Atlantic. The Carolinas could see a potential hurricane early next week. Let's check your Friday forecast.
Good Friday morning. Let's start with the tropics. The Atlantic Basin really waking up. We have a developing tropical wave and tropical storm Umberto, which will continue to strengthen for the rest of today into the weekend, eventually to a major hurricane. Then that second developing tropical wave, that looks to bring wet weather to parts of the southeast as we move into the beginning of the week. But we don't have an exact track yet because the system itself hasn't developed. For your Friday, a lot of 80s on the map across the country. We're drying out in the northeast, heating up in the central U.S. In New York, meteorologist Danny Beckstrom, ABC News.
Coming up, the 1 million-year-old skull now making scientists rethink human history.
Also ahead, the historic settlement, Amazon paying billions for allegedly deceiving customers. How to get some of that settlement money.
And later, two sisters and their two babies born just minutes apart. Back now with the skulls that could rewrite what we know about human evolution. These badly crushed skulls were found in China and are thought to be 1 million years old. Scientists say high-tech analysis is now suggesting that human origins may date back 400,000 years earlier than we thought. But more research is needed.
Health officials are looking into a suspected case of a mosquito-borne illness rarely seen in the U.S. A woman on Long Island, New York, has tested positive for the chikungunya virus in a preliminary screening. She tells the New York Times she has not traveled outside the U.S. recently. The virus is found in South America, Africa, and Asia, and causes severe joint pain and fever.
Some Amazon customers could be getting some money back thanks to a record-breaking settlement after the company was accused of deceiving consumers. Here's ABC's Andrea Fujii.
This morning, a record payout by Amazon as it settles a case brought by the federal government accusing the company of tricking customers with sophisticated subscription traps into signing up for Prime and making it hard for them to cancel.
We have gotten for the American people all of the money that was taken from their pockets.
Amazon Prime is a loyalty program that offers fast, free shipping costing about $15 a month.
What if it was this easy?
The Federal Trade Commission claimed Amazon enrolled millions of people in Prime without their consent and is now required to pay $1 billion in civil penalties and $1.5 billion in refunds.
What we found after years of investigation was that Amazon was tricking people into signing up, and then they were making it very, very hard to cancel.
Who's eligible for a refund? About 35 million Prime customers, those who signed up between June 2019 and June 2025, and who used Prime benefits will automatically receive $51. Customers can also submit claims if they try to cancel during that time.
You would go onto Amazon, see something that you wanted to purchase. There would also be an area where you would then be able to sign up for a Prime membership, and it would kind of be cloudy as to which one you were clicking, and then you were signed up.
Amazon admits no wrongdoing, saying they have always followed the law, and this settlement allows us to move forward and focus on innovating for customers. Amazon is also required to create a clear and conspicuous button to help people decline or cancel their subscription.
Although this $2.5 billion settlement is a big win for the FTC, Amazon makes about that much money in sales every 33 hours. Elizabeth, Perry.
Andrea, thank you. Coming up, what we never knew about crowds at Costco.
Also ahead, the controversy as some of the biggest stars in comedy head to Saudi Arabia for a special event.
We're back with good news from Costco. The company reporting better than expected earnings as customers look for value during this time of inflation and tariffs. Costco says half of its new members are under age 40.
President Trump has signed an order clearing the way for China to sell TikTok's American assets, valuing the company at $14 billion. Trump says Oracle's Larry Ellison, along with Rupert Murdoch and Michael Dell, will be among the Americans taking a majority stake. Trump suggesting China will approve the deal, but he's extending the deadline by another 4 months. So a new survey finds 1 in 5 Americans now say they get their news from TikTok on a regular basis, up from just 3% back in 2020.
We turn now to the controversy over a festival featuring some of the biggest names in comedy.
This weekend, some of America's most popular comedians are set to perform in Saudi Arabia, drawing criticism from human rights organizations. The Saudi government has long faced accusations of silencing journalists, oppressing women, and supporting terrorism. The majority of the hijackers in the September 11th attacks were Saudi nationals. The 2-week festival in Riyadh will include comedians such as Dave Chappelle, Kevin Hart, and Pete Davidson. Davidson, whose father was a New York firefighter killed on 9/11, defended his decision to participate.
You know, I've been getting a little bit of flack just because, like, my dad died 9/11, so they're like, how could you possibly go there? I just, you know, I get the routing and then I see the number and I go, I'll go.
Comedian Shane Gillis says he turned down the gig, despite an offer to double his paycheck.
It was a significant bag.
What?
But I'd already said no. You know, I took a principled stand.
But others are cashing in. One comedian claiming top acts are earning up to $1.6 million. Many pro golfers faced similar criticism back in 2022 for playing in the Saudi-backed Live Golf tournament, which also offered big payouts. Critics claim the Saudi government is funding such events to soften its image. The organization Human Rights Watch is urging comedians to speak out against the Saudis, claiming they're using the festival to deflect attention from its brutal repression of free speech and other pervasive human rights violations.
These events are tied to a plan by the Saudi crown prince to boost tourism and the economy.
On Thursday Night Football, the Cardinals waited until their last two drives to start scoring touchdowns against the Seahawks, but it was not enough. With the game tied at 20, the Seahawks drove right down the field and kicked the game-winning field goal as time expired. The final, 23-20. All right, coming up, could yogurt be the key to a long life?
Maybe. Plus, something very cool that's never been done on Mount Everest.
Time to check the pulse. We begin with a woman who lived until she was 117 years old.
She'll get you rethinking your breakfast choices and grabbing some yogurt. Before Maria Moreira died last year, she asked doctors to study her, and they found, yes, she obviously had some good genes. She also never drank or smoked. She ate fish and olive oil, but she also ate yogurt up to 3 times a day.
That's a lot of yogurt. She went with plain, no sugar. Doctors say it replenishes the gut with good bacteria, helping to fight inflammation. Next, back-to-back baby boys for a family in New Jersey.
2 sisters gave birth at the same hospital just 45 minutes apart. They each had a son, and they were delivered by the same doctor. Little Noah arrived weighing 7 pounds, 12 ounces. Then baby Ralph, who is just 2 ounces lighter.
Yeah, so Noah was due next week, but arrived early, so congrats to them.
They're going to be best friends. Next to Mount Everest, where we usually tell you about people going up.
A guy did that from Poland. He carried his skis to the summit, spending about 16 hours in what's called the death zone. That's above 26,000 feet. Then he skied all the way back down. He is the first person to do that, all without supplemental oxygen. Wild.
Scary. Here's another daring feat. This skateboarder broke a record on this massive ramp that was built in Brazil. Look at that. He broke the record for highest and fastest skateboard drop. Starting from a height of 230 feet, 65 miles an hour on his skateboard, all the way down. Oh my gosh, terrifying.
I'm not doing that.
How did you fall?
I don't think he did.
Next, great news for fans of Spaceballs.
Rick Moranis is coming out of retirement to reprise his role as Lord Darkhelmet in upcoming sequel Spaceballs 2. He has not started a movie since Honey, We Shrunk Ourselves in 1997. This is going to be a good one to see. A lot of people here, including Danny New, very excited about this. So
quite the return. Long time coming.
Checking more top stories, former FBI Director James Comey has been indicted, charged with obstruction and making a false statement to Congress. It comes after President Trump publicly pressured the DOJ to go after his political enemies. Sources say Trump's newly installed U.S. attorney had to present the charges herself because prosecutors refused, citing lack of evidence. Comey will be arraigned October 9th.
President Trump has announced a new round of tariffs. Some pharmaceutical drugs will face tariffs of up to 100%. He's also imposing tariffs on kitchen cabinets, bathroom vanities, certain furniture, and heavy trucks.
Protesters are gathering ahead of Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's address to the UN today. He's expected to criticize countries that have recognized the Palestinian state.
Today's weather, the Northeast dries out, but more showers and storms from Virginia down to the Gulf Coast. Rain also in the Southwest.
And finally, it's been 1 year since Hurricane Helene.
Local musicians are playing once again. Danny New shows us.
This is downtown Marshall, North Carolina.
As we reach the 1 year anniversary of Hurricane Helene's devastating downpour in Appalachia.
I brought you some instruments. Yeah. Oh, what? Wait.
We are meeting an organization that has been working to rejuvenate the epicenter of bluegrass and old-time music.
Appalachia has far more music history lineage tied to it than any other region in our country.
And nearly all the time.
A few weeks after thousands lost their homes and possessions, musician Nicholas Williams started on a project called Restring Appalachia.
Oh, it's a beaut.
Collecting donated items like banjos, mandolins, and guitars for folks who no longer had theirs to strum. With his many connections in the music industry, Nicholas was able to enlist many prominent musicians to help get the word out there.
People are donating $5,000, $7,000, $10,000 instruments.
Now a certified nonprofit, Restring Appalachia has collected more than 1,300 instruments, giving more than 500 to the victims of Hurricane Helene. For example, the first recipient, Todd here, who lost his home in the floods, Restring found him a banjo, mandolin, and guitar.
You're the first person to get an instrument.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my God. we'll put it to good use.
Almost a year into their mission, Restring Appalachia has now also donated instruments to victims of Hurricane Milton, the LA wildfires, and the floods in Texas. Each time giving what Nicholas refers to as, quote, something you make sense of your life with.
It's hard to really fathom. And it is just such a huge honor to be any kind of part of that rebuilding process for us.
So if you want to donate either money or an instrument, their website is restringappalachia.org. You can also apply for an instrument on their website as well, guys.
Danny, new man of many talents there. That's your Good Morning America First Look.
Have a great weekend.